The storm came out of nowhere. One moment the ocean was calm, and the next my compass spun wildly, as if something beneath the waves had swallowed the magnetic field itself. Lightning tore across the sky, slicing open the clouds like a wound. I remember the scream of metal, the boat's mast snapping, and the last thing I saw before darkness took me was the reflection of my own terrified face in the water. When I woke, I wasn't dead. I was on a beach made of black sand, glittering faintly as though it were mixed with powdered glass. My throat burned with salt, and my clothes clung to me, heavy and cold. The air smelled different, sweet, almost floral, but not like anything I'd known before. There was a sound. Hooves. At first, I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me, echoing the crash of the waves, but then I saw them, figures moving through the mist, tall and graceful, silhouettes both familiar and impossible. They galloped toward me, half women, half horses, their bodies powerful, their hair whipping like banners of fire and silver. I stumbled back, my heart hammering. "Stay away," I shouted, though part of me was too stunned to move. One of them stopped a few feet away. She was magnificent, eyes deep and gold like molten amber, muscles rippling under a coat that shimmered between bronze and cream. Her upper body was human, sculpted and strong, but her expression, it wasn't savage. It was cautious, curious. "You are not one of us," she said, her voice melodic like wind across stone. "How did you come here?" I don't know," I stammered. "The storm, my boat, I should be dead." The others surrounded me, speaking in a language I couldn't understand. The leader, her name I would later learn was Elira, touched her palm to my forehead as if reading something beneath my skin. Then, suddenly, the ground trembled. A deep, guttural sound rolled across the island, shaking the black trees that bordered the shore. The horsewomen turned toward the inland mountains, their expressions hardening with fear. "It awakens again," Elira whispered. She grabbed my wrist. "You shouldn't have come here, outsider. Now you'll never leave." Before I could ask what she meant, she and the others began galloping toward the jungle, dragging me along. Behind us, the sea frothed violently, glowing faintly red. And somewhere in that impossible island's heart, something enormous moved. The jungle swallowed us whole. Massive trees twisted into impossible shapes, their roots glowing faintly as if pulsing with veins of light. The air shimmered with heat and mist, thick with the scent of earth and strange flowers that looked almost carnivorous. My breath came ragged as Elira pulled me along, her hooves barely making a sound on the mossy ground. Behind us, the sound from the mountains came again, a deep, resonant growl that didn't belong to any animal I knew. It was ancient, wounded, furious. Finally, we stopped near a wide clearing where other horsewomen gathered in silence. They were different shades, some with coats dark as obsidian, others pale like moonlight, but all carried the same sorrow in their eyes. "This is the last of our herd," Elira said softly. "Once we filled the plains of this island. Now we hide in shadows." I was still trying to process what I was seeing. You're real. You shouldn't exist." Elira turned to me, eyes blazing. "And yet we do, because the island keeps us, because it cannot let go of what it creates." She gestured toward the center of the clearing, where a strange stone stood, tall, carved with spirals that glowed faintly blue. Around it lay piles of bones, human and otherwise. "That thing in the mountains," I said quietly. "It's hunting you, isn't it?" She nodded. "The Maraborn. It was once one of us, a protector. But when the balance broke, when the sky turned red, it became something else. It feeds on life to preserve what remains of this cursed land." As she spoke, I began to piece things together. The storm, the magnetic interference, the sense that this place existed between worlds. Somehow I'd stumbled into a place that wasn't supposed to be on any map. "You said the balance broke," I said. "How?" She looked away, ashamed. "We were created from humankind, long ago when the island's heart still pulsed pure, a union between man and the spirit of the wild. But greed came. One of your kind tried to control the island's energy, to command it. The Maryborn was born from that sin. Now we die one by one and no new foals are born. The curse spreads." I took a step closer, lowering my voice. "Maybe I can help. I'm a biologist. I study genetic extinction, population collapse. If I can understand what's happening here, maybe..." Elira's hand shot out, silencing me. You don't understand. This is not science. This is will. The island chooses who lives and who vanishes. Before I could answer, a horn blared, a deep, mournful sound that made my blood run cold. The horsewomen scattered, galloping toward the forest edge. Ailira's eyes widened with fear. It found us. Then I saw it between the trees, massive and shadowed, its body like smoke and sinew, eyes burning like dying suns. The Mareborn. It let out a roar that shattered the air, and in that instant I realized I wasn't just a castaway. I was the only human left alive who could witness the end of an entire species. The jungle erupted in chaos, trees splintered like toothpicks, as the Mareborn tore through the clearing. Its form flickered, sometimes solid, sometimes translucent, as if reality itself couldn't decide what it was. Ailira shoved me behind a fallen log. "Stay down," she shouted, her voice a mix of command and desperation. I could barely breathe. The air crackled with a static energy that made every hair on my body stand upright. The Mareborn's breath steamed, its body stitched together from shadows and bones that shifted beneath its skin. When it roared again, I felt it in my spine. The horsewomen fought back, not with weapons, but with something deeper. Their hooves struck the earth in unison, creating a thunderous rhythm that made the ground quake. Light surged from the stone pillar at the center of the clearing, wrapping around them like ribbons of fire. Ailira charged. I watched her move like a storm incarnate, powerful, wild, divine. She leapt, striking the Mareborn's chest with blinding light. The creature shrieked, recoiling. For a moment it seemed to fade, but then it came back stronger, grabbing her mid-air with one massive clawed limb. "No!" I screamed. Without thinking, I ran toward them. My body moved on instinct, though my mind screamed at me to stop. I grabbed a spear that had fallen nearby, one of their ceremonial weapons, and thrust it into the creature's flank. The spear hit something solid. The Mareborn roared and flung me aside like I weighed nothing. I slammed into the ground, pain exploding through my ribs. Ailira broke free, landing beside me. She looked at me, stunned. "You struck it." "It bleeds," I gasped, spitting sand and blood. "That means it can die." She hesitated, then nodded. "Then you are bound to us now, outsider. You have shared the hunt." The Mareborn lunged again, tearing through the clearing. Ailira called out in their ancient tongue, and the others circled it, their eyes glowing like stars. I felt the ground pulsing beneath me, a rhythm alive and responsive like a heartbeat. That was when I noticed it. The black sand beneath us was moving, no, breathing. It pulsed in time with the light from the standing stone, and then I heard it, a whisper. Not from Ailira, not from the others, from the island itself. "You woke what was sleeping. You carry the same mark as the first one." "What?" I whispered aloud, trembling. Ailira turned to me sharply. "What did you say?" I pointed at my forearm. A faint glow had begun to spread beneath the skin, in the same spiral shape carved into the stone. Her eyes widened. "The island has chosen you." The Mareborn let out another deafening scream, and the spiral on my arm flared, burning like fire. In that moment, I saw everything. Visions of ancient rituals, the merging of man and beast, the creation of the horsewomen, from a pact between a dying human explorer and the spirit of the island itself. The island didn't just create life, it merged it, and now it was merging with me. I staggered to my knees, clutching my arm as the spiral burned brighter beneath my skin. The pain was unbearable, fire, ice, and light fusing into something ancient. Ailira knelt beside me, her face pale with realization. "You bear the mark of the first one," she whispered. "The one who created us, the one who betrayed us." I stared at her through the haze of agony. "What does that mean?" "I don't even know how I got here." She shook her head slowly. "The island called you. It always calls the bloodline of its maker when the balance tips toward death. You are his descendant." Her words hit me like a blow. "That's impossible." "My family—" I stopped. My great-grandfather had been an explorer. His ship, the Perseid, vanished in 1894 somewhere in the South Pacific. His journal spoke of an island of divine beasts, but everyone assumed it was madness. My breath caught. "Oh my God." Ailira nodded grimly. "He was the one who opened the gate between flesh and spirit. He made the pact that birthed us, but his greed poisoned the bond. The Mareborn was born from that corruption." The ground trembled again. The beast was still out there, wounded, enraged, hunting. I could feel its pulse syncing with mine. like two hearts tethered by invisible veins. Elira placed her hand on my arm. If the mark chose you, then you can end it. The island answers only to its blood. I looked around at the terrified faces of the remaining horsewomen, creatures caught between two worlds, half myth, half miracle. And for the first time I understood the weight of what I was seeing. This wasn't evolution. This was creation by will. What do I have to do? I asked. She glanced toward the mountain. We must go to the Sanctum of Origin. That's where the heart of the island beats, the place your ancestor sealed the curse. We traveled through the night, guided by ghostly lights that floated through the jungle like lost souls. I felt the island shifting around us, the trees whispering, the ground sighing as if aware of our steps. When dawn came, we reached the base of the volcano. Steam hissed from cracks in the earth, carrying the smell of iron and salt. The entrance to the sanctum was a narrow fissure, carved with symbols that pulsed faintly as I approached. The spiral on my arm glowed in response. The door opened like a wound. Inside, the cavern was vast, glowing with bioluminescent vines and crystalline veins that throbbed like arteries. At the center stood a massive heart of stone, half embedded in the ground, pulsing slowly. It was alive, and chained to it, struggling, writhing, was the Mariborn. Its body was fused with roots and bones, as if the island itself was trying to contain it. It turned its head toward me, its eyes burning with recognition. Blood of the betrayer, it hissed inside my mind. You will not end me. You will become me. Pain shot through my skull. Visions flooded my thoughts. My ancestor standing here centuries ago, merging his soul with the island to create life, then losing control as his creation consumed him. The Mariborn wasn't just a monster. It was him. My great-grandfather, Elira's voice broke through the storm in my head. You must choose, outsider. Save us by sealing the heart or free it and destroy the island forever. The chamber shook violently. The chains around the Mariborn began to snap. The air filled with screams, some from the beast, some from the island itself. And in that moment, as everything trembled between creation and extinction, the choice fell to me. The cavern thundered around me, shaking with the agony of a dying world. The Mariborn strained against its chains, roaring so loud the air itself seemed to tear. Shards of light burst from the cracks in the stone heart, each pulse a heartbeat of the island, desperate, fading. Elira clung to my shoulder, her golden eyes fierce and pleading. If you free him, everything will burn. The island will drown and we'll vanish with it. But if I seal it again, I said, trembling, you'll die anyway. The Mariborn is part of you. You'll all disappear. Her expression softened. Then let us fade with honor. We were never meant to exist forever. I looked at the creature, the twisted remains of my ancestor, once human, now bound to the island's life force. Through the haze of fury and shadow, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. A face, tired, tormented. End it, the voice whispered inside my mind. End me. The spiral on my arm flared again, brighter than ever, connecting me to the island's veins of light. My body trembled violently as the energy surged, like fire, like memory, like inheritance. I was the last of his bloodline, and the island recognized me. Elira stepped back, her hooves striking sparks on the cavern floor. Do it, human. Save what remains of the world. I raised my hands toward the heart. The glow intensified, wrapping around me like molten glass. The Mariborn screamed as the chains reformed, digging into its smoky flesh. Every sound echoed through me. I felt his pain, his sorrow, his desire for release. I screamed with him, then silence. The heart split open, blinding light consuming everything. I felt my body dissolve, but not into death. Into connection. For a moment I was everywhere, the sea, the jungle, the wind through the black sand. I felt Elira's heartbeat, her fear, her courage. And I felt the island sigh with relief. When the light faded, I found myself on the shore once again. The storm was gone. The air was calm. The island was still. Elira stood a few feet away, her eyes filled with tears. But something was different. Her legs shimmered, dissolving into faint motes of golden dust. You saved us, she whispered, smiling faintly. You gave us peace. I reached out, but my hand passed through her. No, wait. Do not grieve, she said softly. The Mariborn sleeps. The balance is restored, and part of you will always remain here. The wind caught her hair as her body faded completely, her essence scattering into the sea breeze. I fell to my knees. the black sand cool beneath my hands. The spiral mark on my arm had vanished. Only a faint scar remained, a memory carved into flesh. Far in the distance, the volcano's heart glowed one last time before dimming forever. Weeks later, when I was rescued by a passing freighter, I told them I'd been shipwrecked on an uncharted island. They laughed, called me lucky. But sometimes when the tide rolls in at night, I swear I can still hear the rhythm of hooves echoing across the water, and the whisper of a voice carried on the wind. The island remembers. If you enjoyed this story, leave your like and tell us which city in the world you're watching from. And to see more fascinating videos like this one, subscribe to the channel.